A nation in mourning, but you've got a government that's clearly on a war footing in action. The terror strike in Pahalgam has triggered a sweeping crackdown, not just on the ground, but in India's larger posture as well. First up, from Kashmir to the corridors of power in the national capital, the message is loud and clear. There will be no space for terror sympathizers or the Pakistani nationals. Amit Shah has issued a directive to all the chief ministers: throw out all Pakistani nationals with immediate effect. The army and the air force are on high alert as well. Anti-terror operations are intensifying. Visuals of the blast that took place, one of the terror attack suspects. Then again, suspected safe houses are being razed down to the ground as well. In Bridge Behara, in Tral, both of these areas, take a look at that, visuals on your screens. A blast that happened and a house that has now been razed down. India is not stopping here, let me tell you that. The Indus Waters Treaty has been suspended, and just like I told you, that meeting, the high-level meeting, of course, attended by the External Affairs Minister, all the principal secretaries, and the Jal Shakti Minister, along with the Home Minister, that was carried out. It has just concluded. We will shortly be telling you what transpired at that meet, because the next step after suspension of the Indus Water Treaty is something everybody wants to know about. The diplomatic offensive is expanding in Pakistan. Well, it's already bracing for a fallout. The airspace has been shut to Indian aviation. The army is on alert on the border points. We've got visuals of the Pakistani army now beefing up its security posts, fearing Indian retaliation. Islamabad fears Indian retaliation. Take a look at some of those exclusive visuals on News9, ladies and gentlemen, how the Pakistani forces are now amping up. They're all fearing Indian retaliation. A kinetic, wholesome and holistic response they shall get for sure. Of course, now Islamabad knows something big may be coming their way, but we bring you every angle on ground, in the air and across the diplomatic lines. On the broadcast, an esteemed set of panelists: Lieutenant General A.B. Shivane, former Director General, Mechanized Forces. Very warm welcome to you, General. Major General Jagatbir Singh, Distinguished Fellow, USI and Editor, Salute Magazine, is also with us on the broadcast. Very warm welcome to you, General. And Dr. P.K. Mishra, former ADG, BSF. P.K. Mishra needs no introduction at this point in time, but I'm going to quickly come across to General Shivane. You know, let's get the ball rolling here, General. The Army Chief's visit to Srinagar, how crucial is it in setting operational tone post the Pahalgam carnage, the symbolic and the strategy? You've got the IAF's air domination that's taking place and the high-level meet. So on the military front and on the diplomatic front, India is working on war footing. Like I said right at the beginning, this is a nation in mourning, but a government that seems to be quite rightly in action.
Absolutely. So this is indicative of a whole-of-nation approach and a holistic response to a terror attack which has been abetted by Pakistan and their tools, the terrorists, against the country and against innocents. Therefore, you have a diplomatic front which is active and carrying out punitive measures against them. You have an economic front, you have a political front which is garnering all the support from the nations and briefing them on Pakistan's role. And then you have a military front which is the kinetic and non-kinetic element of execution of hurt on the enemy and hurt where it hit where it hurts and hurt where it lasts. So therefore, the very presence of the army chief in the forward areas is indicative of two things. One, to tell the troops there to be prepared and we are with you. And two, to review the situation for a launch of an offensive. But having said that, wars are not launched on emotions or on anger. The options would have been very clearly worked out, one or many. They would have been selective, and an escalatory, intense matrix has been worked out. You have seen the sanctity of the international border and the LC with the ceasefire ceases to exist. Therefore, you will see an escalatory domination of Pakistan forces,
All
their
right.
terror camps, their launch pads, and they will feel the heat of the Indian Army and the nation's response against them.
I think they already are. With the global ostracization of Pakistan, it's happening on all fronts. General Jagatbir, let me come to you next. How do you assess Pakistan's response so far? We've got some of those exclusive visuals of how the Pakistan army is also beefing up its border posts. The denial, the protest, the shutting down of the airspace. Is this fear or is this posturing? How does one look at it?
Well, you look at it from both sides, because to be very honest, Pakistan was prepared because they carried out this action earlier. So it's sort of a proactive action by them, targeting of the innocent tourists in Pahalgam. So naturally, they were prepared for a fallout from India to a degree. So that's why you will see movement of there, and you have seen certain knee-jerk reaction in the sense of closing down the airspace, and also this rhetoric that is coming out from Pakistan, like when we talked about the suspension or the abeyance of the Indus Water Treaty, they said this is an act of war. So this sort of rhetoric you'll see increasingly coming out from Pakistan. But the fact of the matter is that what is the current state within Pakistan today? Why have they taken, what are they are fighting, and they've got multiple fault lines existing in Pakistan. And you've seen it happening all the time. They've got problems in Baluchistan, they've got problems with Afghanistan, and now the next step, what Jal Shivane is very rightly spoken about certain issues, of the army taking escalatory steps. So we must constantly remain one step ahead in the escalatory ladder. And that's the main thing. I think no one could have spelt out the situation better than Jal Shivane today.